Welcome back to Market Makers. I'm Erik Schatzker. We're talking about the battle over beta, not hedge fund performance, alpha versus beta. We're talking about technology, and according to our next guest, the competition in Silicon Valley isn't about money, it's about who owns the future. Peter Goldmacher is a managing director and research analyst at Cowan Co with us from San Francisco this morning. Peter, good to see you again. The outrage, let's call it that, because there's plenty of it, concerning what the NSA has been doing, peering into the servers of Google and Apple and Microsoft and others, I should add, including Facebook, has raised some big questions about the use and availability of big data. Big data is something that you specialize in as an analyst, but you're looking at big data on the private side, not the public side. What does this situation, what does this matter, this issue, mean for the companies in that business?
Well, I think it means a lot of things for a lot of different people. I think this case with the NSA shows that, first and foremost, that the opportunity to use technology to comb through massive amounts of data is very real. One of the probably the biggest user of big data out there is the U.S. government, so this brings that home a little bit. But I think what I find interesting about this NSA case, or this NSA issue, is that most people have made the conscious or subconscious decision to sacrifice convenience for security. So the practical reality is most people will actually divulge more data about themselves that actually matters by logging into Facebook and having accounts on LinkedIn than the NSA is going to glean by combing through phone calls. I think that the NSA is far less interested in me talking about my son's Little League game than a hacker is on my Facebook account, where I may have my birthday and I may have friended my mother so they can get her maiden name. So it's certainly an issue, but I think it raises a lot of other bigger issues beyond just this. Well,
let's talk about one of those, among those bigger issues, and we'll get to a couple of others, Peter. One is that people are made aware because of this situation. Well, they're made aware of the situation, and then they ask themselves, what does the government know about me? Now maybe I have a much better idea of what the government knows about me. But should they be asking themselves, what does Facebook know about me? What does Apple know about me? What does Microsoft know about me? You're right. They have been consciously or unconsciously trading away security and privacy for convenience, but they may never have thought about it in these terms. And if they start to think about it in those terms, what's the future for this business?
Well, I think the future for the business is very good. I think you have,
regardless of what happens.
Yeah, you know, what you're seeing is a lot of money from the venture community pouring into these new technology companies that are able to comb through these massive amounts of data. So whether or not we feel good or bad about these gigantic digital footprints we're leaving, we are doing it, and that trend is only accelerating. So I think what you have to think about is there's a generational difference, right? People my age and older sometimes are concerned about security and privacy, but we still bank online, we still use our cell phone, we still leave our location services on our iPhones on all the time. And there's a generational shift where younger people today have no problem taking lots of pictures, sending them to all their friends. They're very comfortable with their gigantic digital footprint. So regardless of the age group and the way we talk about it, nobody's leaving a smaller digital footprint. There are very few people that have made a conscious decision to say, I'm going to use less technology. What we're all saying is, I'm going to use more technology because it's more convenient for me, and I hope that I don't get my identity compromised.
So, Peter, if that's the case, whether it's with the government or whether it's private industry, there is this enormous opportunity in big data and the need to crunch the numbers and analyze it and process it through servers and databases. Which companies are going to get the lion's share of that business? Which companies are going to be hired perhaps by the NSA? Which companies are going to be hired by the Apples and the Facebooks and the Googles and the Microsofts to do that job?
Yeah, you know, it's probably going to be a long list of private companies that haven't really made it into the public realm yet. So I think about some of the Hadoop vendors, companies like Cloudera, companies like Hortonworks. I think about some of the NoSQL vendors, companies like DataStax, companies like Tengen, companies like Couch. And what these companies have done is they've said, look, we have new technologies to deal with new data types. And what they're doing with these new technologies, they're distributing them for free. So you're getting massive distribution. And for the commercial versions, they are charging, but the price points are materially lower than the more traditional data management companies like an Oracle, like an IBM.
Is that kind of like Google's, I mean, is the approach not dissimilar to the way Google spread religion through Android?
Yeah, no, I think it's very similar. I think you give it away, and then when people find value and they embed it into part of their everyday processes, then you can go in and charge for it. But what I find so interesting about this data management software at this particular time is all these companies are very well funded, and they're building these gigantic distribution mechanisms to get this product to market more quickly than we've traditionally seen enterprise software get to market. So I think that this new generation of technology is going to be more disruptive more quickly than we've seen historical enterprise software disrupt some of the legacy players.